Today we're doing something special. We do this every Friday. I have Ginger Hopper with me today, so thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being on, Ginger.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. So what we're doing today, you guys, is we're just going to talk about, like, real talk. What's how do we become successful in our home business? Like, what is the Ginger has found success now, and so what we're going to look at is what was life like before, what changed things for her, and then what's she excited about in the future. So Ginger, if you wouldn't mind letting us know, what was life like before whenever you were doing your entrepreneurial thing, but you had not yet made it into this crazy world?
You know, I was a waitress most of my life because I loved dealing with people.
Yeah.
And until my knees gave out, then I became a bus driver because it was low hours. But the jobs I picked was so I could stay home. I didn't feel like I belonged out there working, and I knew there was something for me. So I tried all the in-home businesses. I was successful, but not to the excess to be able to just stay home.
Yeah.
And nothing ever really seemed to pan out. And I always knew there was something better to me. And at 49 years old, I'm looking at myself saying, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Right.
I mean, I don't feel grown up yet. I need something in my life.
Yeah.
And I had some friends tell me all about you and HBR, and for months I kept saying, I can't afford it. I can't do that right now. I don't have the extra money, that sort of thing. Yeah. But when I finally decided to jump in and said, you know what, the money will come from someplace. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
It was like a light switch came on, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, bat signal. I know who I want to be when I grow up. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. And all of a sudden it just came about. And if there's somebody that says they can't afford it right now you better run, because we know the price is going up. And it's amazing how you can go. I said I wouldn't get emotional.
Oh,
it's
I like it when you do.
It's amazing how you can go from you go from knowing that you're supposed to be somebody and that you were designed for greatness and a purpose, but you could never find that purpose. And it was within you the whole time. And you pulled that out of me. And I'm so grateful to that.
Well, thank you for saying that. That's one of the biggest things that I love about what we get to do, is because that really is what we do. I worked in the hospitality or the restaurant industry for 14 years, and I remember that was grueling. That was really hard work. It was great work, because what you said about being able to be around people, and like, it's just, for some of us, it really is a satisfying industry, I guess, to be in. Mm-hmm. But it's just so hard on your body. And then the hours are really long, and I love that you came from that industry and then you went into bus driving, and then you had that moment of what am I going to do? Like, what is my thing, Because I think we all hit that point, and some people they'll call it like midlife crisis or whatever, and where people just kind of freak out and do weird stuff. And I don't think that it's necessarily, like, people laugh about men doing it like they're, getting old or something. And I don't really think that that's what it is. I think what it comes down to is we've lived half of our lives, or what could be half of our lives, and maybe we just don't feel fulfilled by it yet. And I think that can be really scary. Mm-hmm. And can cause somebody to freak out a bit. And whenever you hit that fulfillment point, it's something really special. And that's what we get to do in HBR, is not just teach like the system. And I mean, there is a system, but the very best thing that we do is right at the beginning, when we say, like, okay, who are you? And what are you designed for? What is this thing that is in you that we're now going to put out into the world? Not everybody's going to be little Marthas. It's who are you? And then let's build this thing around you. Mm-hmm. That's like the most special thing about HBR. So you were working these other in-home businesses before, which a lot of people can understand that story. I'm sure they've been there also, where they've tried this and they try that and they try this and they try that, because it all seems like it seems viable. Whenever you read the paperwork, you read the stuff on it, it seems like, okay, that makes sense. And then you go to do it and you're like, but it doesn't really work that way. And so what are you doing now? What's your stuff that you're doing now? So this stuff didn't work before. You learned a new way. You learned who your people are. Your bat signal is what we call it. And so what changes for you now? Like, what are you doing?
Well, like I had a really rough childhood. Not that my parents were bad or anything, but I went through a lot of things. I had some mental issues myself. And then once my kids were raised and I got past all that, it kind of was like I have done all the steps to make me better, but what can I do to go even further? Mm-hmm. And by taking the course, I realized that I can reach back into the fire and I can do what I've always wanted to do. I always let fear stop me from writing books and doing those things. And well, with the book, it's great because doing all the network marketing things before, I knew how to network market my book, and I've got book signings all over coming up. So there's that.
Yes.
I actually have two schools and a library system that I'll be doing in another state. So I mean, it's great. But as far as my bat signal, I kept thinking I need to reach back in and help people from where I was. Yeah. But it literally just dawned. I still had some confusion in there till last night. It finally came to me. And it's not so much helping that young version of me come out. It's helping the 49, 50-year-old who says, what do I want to be when I grow up? And that would be the empty nesters in pain. Take a journey back and rediscover the truth about you.
Yeah. Oh.
Because that's when I find that's when all the pain starts. We live for our children. We live for our husbands. We live for our careers. We live for all this stuff. And all of a sudden one day it's gone and you go, now what do I live for? Yeah. Uh-oh. And then all this pain starts reoccurring that started when you were younger, that you just kept putting Band-Aids on.
Yes.
Now it's time to heal you and become who you are, who you were always designed and meant to be. And that's what HBR has done.
Oh, shoot. I have head to toe goosebumps. I'm not even kidding. Like, preach. It's so good. Do you see how juicy it gets whenever you get right into your lane where you're like, there it is, the meat, everything. This is what I live for in this moment. And then you can go at it and serve those individuals with no even sense of limitations, because you're like, no, these are my people. They cannot stay where they are. I choose for them not to stay where they are. I'm here to move them, right? Like it's just, your world changes. People think so much that like whenever we, build these personal brands and build these businesses and all of that stuff, they think that it's about money. And it was never about money. Money comes, sure, but it was never about money. It was about taking care of each other. That's what we're here for. And the reason we make money is so we don't have to, do something else to make money 40, 60, 80 hours a week. That's why we get to make money doing what we're doing. Like, it's just a beautiful, it works. It just works. Oh, Ginger, what are you excited about for the future? Go ahead.
I'm sorry, if you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, the money follows it because you're 100%. Doing it with a passion. And let me tell you, that money we spent on HBR, I'd have paid that monthly.
Some people do, not for HBR, but there are a lot of people that do pay that for coaching monthly, right? That's why we don't charge that much, guys. Just so you know, I could charge that much if I wanted to. I could, but I don't. And the reason why is because I want for it to be accessible to everybody. And there are some people that listen to that and they say, she just doesn't know how to charge her worth. No, listen, I know my worth. You can watch any of my videos. I know my worth. It's what I'm doing is I'm making sure that every single family on the planet has access to this so you can do it. If you can't afford it, you won't learn it, and then you can't do it. Period. Boom. Done. It's not that complicated. And so, what are you excited about for the future then, Ginger?
Yeah. There's so much to be excited for. My website is taking off, and that kind of streamlines my coaching, the books, the journals. It streamlines everything. And the group I've created, we're starting to get a little bit more focused and lifting each other up. We're just building this community, and it's like your community where we're lifted up for this purpose, but now I have this other community where I'm lifting them up for this purpose.
Yes.
And gosh, there's just so much to be excited for.
Yeah, I love it. And guys, don't forget the term, the coaches need coaches, okay? If you're going to have a community where you're lifting people up, you need to have one that's lifting you up. That's like you also need that. There are a lot of people that go out into the world and they help and they help and they help. And then there's the term, you eventually start pouring from an empty cup and you can't. And that's what happens when you're not yourself being taken care of, being held, being lifted up on your own. So make sure that you're in a community. If it's not mine, that's no big deal, but make sure that you're in a community that does that for you. Okay, guys. And then also at the very end here, I'm just going to say, if you guys don't know, HBR, the doors close tonight at midnight. They will not open again for another 3 months. Whenever they open again, it's going to be $49.97, so just shy of $5K. If you want to get in now, it's $14.97. If you still need a payment plan with that, no big deal. We totally understand that. Just message us. So you're going to message us at Livin the Dream with Martha. It's my Facebook business page. And message me the words, let's do this, rainbows and unicorns, whatever you want. And we'll go through, a few questions just to make sure that it's a good fit. And then we'll handle the payment details. Don't worry about it. Don't look at this as a thing that you just can't afford. You can't afford not to. I'm just going to say that. The world is changing quickly. We need to get on it. We need to start being sustainable at home, sustainable on our own. Okay. But Ginger, thank you so much for coming on with me. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. I enjoyed it.
Awesome. Everybody show Ginger some love, and we will see you all next time, okay? Bye-bye.